Stocks eked out a gain Monday after trading narrowly mixed for most of the session as investors were reluctant to make major moves ahead of Tuesday's presidential election. The Dow Jones Industrial Average squeezed out a gain of 19.28 points, or 0.15%, to close at 13,112.44, led by Hewlett-Packard HPQ 14.010.25 plus 1.82%. Bank of America back 9.75 negative 0.10 negative 1.02%, and United Health UNH 55.28 negative 0.77 negative 1.37% led the blue chip laggards. The S&P 500 gained 3.06 points, or 0.22%, to finish at 1,417.26. The Nasdaq rose 17.53 points, or 0.59%, to end at 2,999.66. The CBOE Volatility Index, widely considered the best gauge of fear in the market, jumped above 18. Among the key S&P sectors, utilities lagged, while materials and energy climbed. Both President Barack Obama and Republican challenger Mitt Romney have been making last-minute pushes through the crucial swing states in the run-up to Tuesday's vote. Investors will also be keeping a close eye on congressional races to determine how the U.S. may deal with the looming fiscal cliff. Read more. Campaigns spent $30.33 per second for your vote. I think the markets want to see an end to this uncertainty that we're living under, the co-head of global equities Neel Kashkari told CNBC. But I think we need to be more precise and look at what the election means for long-term fiscal policy, what it means for monetary policy, and what it means for the fiscal cliff. Because no matter who wins, the outcomes are different in those three different parts of the economy. Read more. Here's how to trade the huge week in global politics. On average, the Dow and S&P 500 have performed better under Democratic presidents, with the Dow returning an average gain of 74% and the S&P returning a gain of 80%. That compares with the Republican average gain of 47% for the Dow and 41% for the S&P. For the Dow, this data dates back to 1901, while the data dates back to 1928 for the S&P. With the election extremely close, Barry Knack, Barclays head of U.S. equity portfolio strategy, told CNBC that trying to reallocate capital ahead of time is difficult. There are some interesting ideas that could benefit reasonably well under both scenarios, but for the most part you're going to have to sit down Wednesday and think long and hard about where you want to be, said Knack. On the economic front, the Institute for Supply Management's ISM Non-Manufacturing Index, which tracks monthly changes in the services sector, came in at 54.2 in October versus an estimate of 54.5. That reading was down from 55.1 in September. The reading above 50 indicates a sector expansion. Apple AAPL 584.6 to 117.8 to 11 plus 1.36% gained after the tech giant said it sold 3 million iPads since Friday when it launched the iPad mini and the fourth generation iPad. Netflix and FLX 78.2 for 1.34 plus 1.74% adopted a poison pill to protect against a potential takeover. The move comes on the heels of activist investor Carl Icahn accumulating shares in the streaming video company. Among earnings, Humana Home 75.5 to 0.31 plus 0.41% reported a lower quarterly profit but said its results were better than it had expected. The health insurer also struck a deal to acquire Florida-based Metropolitan Health Networks MDF 11.150.30 plus 2.76%, which serves Medicare and Medicaid members. Time Warner Cable TWC 91.93 negative 6.24 negative 6.36%. Meanwhile, missed forecasts for the quarter, as declining video subscribers offset growing demand for its high-speed internet services. Transocean rid 48.6 for 2.58 plus 5.6% rallied after the oilfield services company reported better than expected results. Toyota Fulium 81.35 3.55 plus 4.56% also gained after the Japanese automaker nudged up its full-year forecast. Utility stocks including Cone EDS 58.00 negative 1.20 negative 2.03% PSC and GPEG 30.7 to negative 0.36 negative 1.16% and Exelon EXC 32.01 negative 0.76 negative 2.32% continued to drop in the wake of Hurricane Sandy. In the financial sector, Morgan Stanley MS 17.75 negative 0.03 negative 0.17% said its co-head of institutional securities, Paul J. Tuppermont, will retire at the end of the year. Swiss bank UBS 15.25 0.10 plus 0.66% also announced management changes in its investment banking unit. On the M&A front, Stifel Nicolaus SF 32.58 0.67 plus 2.1% agreed to acquire KBW 17.471.17 plus 7.18% in a deal worth $575 million. European markets. FTEU 3 1108.58 negative 6.61 negative 0.59% closed lower, with investors also concerned as to whether the Greek government's new austerity bill, on which the country's next bailout is dependent, will pass through Parliament. Coming up this week. Tuesday, 3 years note auction, election night, earnings from Nissan, CVS Caremark, NICE Euronext, Office Depot, News Corp Wednesday, weekly mortgage apps, oil inventories, 10 years note auction, consumer credit, Coach shareholders MTRG, Oracle shareholders MTRG, earnings from Macy's, SodaStream, Qualcomm, Activision Blizzard, CBS, Monster Beverage, Whole Foods Thursday, International Trade, Jobless Claims, 30 years bond auction, Kellogg Analyst Day, 3M Investor MTRG, OPEC Press Conference, earnings from Dean Foods, Wendy's, Disney, Groupon, Nordstrom, Nvidia, Kayak, Zipcar Friday, Import/export prices, consumer sentiment, wholesale trade, earnings from JCPenney,